going, folks? Nick here with the Permaculture vlog. I'm up here at Hacienda Rosa today. I'm going to be showing you a little bit of the system that we have going on a slope here. I just want to show you a couple things first. Right behind me is actually the sugar shack. This is one of the rental properties they have here at Hacienda Rosa. This little small kind of cabin style. It's off-grid. It does have a little bit of electricity supply, just so you can charge your phones and everything. Composting toilet and everything. So you can kind of feature all the systems that are around the sugar shack today. But before I do that, I just wanted to show you this gorgeous view you have if you are staying here of the mountains. And there's the mountains with the clouds right at the top. So there's a cloud forest up at the top of El Yunque there, where the majority of the time it's actually covered in clouds. It gets so much precipitation that there because of the clouds. It's just super wet forest. But beautiful. There's actually a peak. It kind of comes up probably to here that you can't see in the clouds. So beautiful shot right now of the clouds going over the mountains there. And of course the beautiful shot of Hacienda Rosa back here. Let's take a look at the sugar shack real quick, and then I'll move on to the systems just behind the sugar shack that we have going here. Knock knock, anyone here? Hope not. I'm about to walk in, it's pretty early still. This is the sugar shack. So we got a small little kitchen here. There's water plumbed here, so there's water available. Nice little small kitchenette if you want to stay. We have a little compost bin. We take that to the chickens mainly, sometimes into the compost bin. We do have one power, just an extension cord run down here, so we can power this little mini fridge. At some point we're hoping to go completely off-grid and have solar. We do have a small little solar system here. So this just kind of controls the lights right here. And there's a small little battery in that little box there that just supplies all that. Just a small little 12 volts. So that's actually a system I brought down right after Hurricane Maria. We actually bought the battery locally, but I brought the panel and all the supplies so we could actually get them power about 3 years ago at this point. So this is the biggest feature that people always talk about. Well, maybe not quite the composting toilet right there, but that's basically what this is. We're doing a really simple, basic bucket system of a compost toilet. You just kind of lift up, you go in, you put in your sawdust, your wood shavings right on top after you go, and then we empty that out into our little compost system that's just over here, and I'll show you that too. But this is the most talked about feature of this entire thing. So the shower doesn't seem like much when you look from up here, but once you get down here, you see that the shower is actually built into a tree. So this is actually a living tree that's at the corner of the sugar shack right here. And they just put in this beautiful little stone floor, but the root actually goes right through the bathroom and out. So actually built right around this tree. Instead of having to take down the tree or do anything, take out the roots that would cause some instability, they actually just use the tree, and you can kind of see it through the pane up there. So really cool little system here. Beautiful artistic work in here done by Kike. There's a local artist that came and did most of this carving into the wood here. It's a beautiful place. Really cool little bathroom, very unique. Here's a lounge area. These big, huge windows that you can open up. They have these hammocks. So it's actually the hook there, and there's a hook right over here. So you can actually string up the hammock and go straight across and have a nice hammock hanging out in here as well. Big, really cool chess set if you're into chess and want to sit here and play some chess. Beautiful. Again, looking right out towards El Yunque and everything right through the window in here. I suppose I should turn on some lights so you guys can see the bedrooms. Not really going to see much if it's completely dark in there. These lights are just on barely. I could open up the window here, so this window actually looks back right into the fields right above here, so you can actually just check that out. There's nice mosquito netting in each room if you do want to have that. This is, I believe, a full bed. Nice little backdrop here. There's a small little fan with a little extension cord if you do need a fan. Small little very simple living here. That's what we like. Lots of games for you to come play. Really cool spot. This is the second room in the sugar shack. Just small little twin bed. Again, you also have your mosquito net, some cool artwork hanging out around you. Nice small place to stay if it's just you and a friend, or it's really good for a small family if you want something kind of different and off-grid. Really cool place to come check out in Luquillo, Puerto Rico. Really close to the rainforest. You can see the rainforest from here, and it's about a 5-minute drive, and you'll be into the rainforest proper. It's actually probably like a 3-minute drive. It's really close to here. So we're continuing on improving this and continuing on getting systems established here. We actually have a bunch of pineapples in pots here. You can see this one's starting now. So pineapple in a pot. Here's a nice little pineapple starting, green, still pretty small, still has lots of time before it's completely ripe. So still some time there. And then yeah, we have right back here, we have a cool field system, and I'm gonna walk up there in just a second and show you guys that and show you what we're doing up there. Before I do that, I just want to show you the Humanure, kind of Humanure processing area. So this house, we don't have any plumbing run to it, so we're using a dry composting system. So we're using the bucket method. So all the Humanure goes into a bucket and is basically sealed off, and then when we're ready to compost it, we take it away from the actual sugar shack itself, and we bring it over here into our little composting system right here. It's basically just a 2-bin system, and we do have to do some upgrades to it. You can see the termites are starting to take over and start to degrade this. So, you know, that's just kind of a reality here in the tropics. We have termites and ants and everything to deal with. So unless we get this really, really kind of built in and really secure, we're gonna have some of those issues, but that's okay. Just open that up, and this is where we dump everything. Looks like we actually have to add a little bit more of this organic material, but basically we just fill this up with the buckets, and by the time it's full, the next batch over is usually close to done. So we don't have to worry too much about interacting with it too much. It sits here for about 6 to 12 months, depending on how long it takes to actually fill up. If it fills up really quickly, then we can basically do 6 months because everything's there at once. If it takes a while to fill up, but we don't have as many guests and everything, then as it fills up over time, once we get it completely full, we let it sit for at least 6 months. And then after that, we start spreading it around. So Humanure is actually really safe, especially if it has plenty of time to process. By the end, you wouldn't even think there's any sort of manure in there when you take it out. It's just mostly, we use a lot of high carbon, kind of woody material in there. And so by the time everything's processed and the worms get in there and everything kind of decomposes, it's pretty much just kind of like a woody compost essentially. So really clean, smells great, smells just like forest floor, so you know it's good. And we use that on all the tree crops. So we're never gonna use Humanure on say like a leafy green or something we're gonna harvest and eat. So we don't, just in case. Really, there's probably no reason why we shouldn't be able to, but just as a precaution, we just choose not to use Humanure on anything that's gonna be basically growing above the ground that we might be harvesting right there, or a root crop, say carrots or anything like that. We're not gonna use it on something like that. We will use it on something like bananas or tree crops, or something where the Humanure is never going to touch the thing that we're harvesting. So that's what we're using it for here. And by using the Humanure, we're actually receiving excess nutrients from all the guests that come to the property. And those excess nutrients are actually going to be providing basically food for all the beneficial microbes that are going to help feed all of our tree systems here at Hacienda Rosa. So here's Hacienda Rosa from the back. Really cool little spot. We have a little storage shed there. It's where we kind of collect all the buckets for the Humanure. So basically the bathroom's right here. We can walk it out and we kind of store them there, and then we're ready to process it. We bring it on over to the compost bins, which are kind of down around that corner there. So I'm now stood in this in the field up here. We actually don't quite think we have a name for this field yet, but it's kind of the field behind the sugar shack. So I think we've been calling it the sugar shack field. You can see we have a lot of bananas growing. All that right there is sugarcane that's coming up. This is cassava or yucca. This is our root crop. This is an anon. This is I think it's called sugar apple, and it's a kind of a tropical fruit. So many tree systems here, because in the tropics, trees are going to end up providing kind of the best return of nutrient for us longer term, because tropics, so much abundant growth, sometimes it's hard to keep control of everything, but tree systems are long term, and we can actually have that kind of perennial system, so it's constantly growing and we're constantly cycling those nutrients. So that's much better in a tropical system. We will have some annual cropping systems here as well, likely in this field too, because it's the one that we get the most sun exposure on. But we always are focusing on long-term perennial systems here to hold the stability here in the tropics, just because it's hard to keep the stability just because of all the abundant growth and the abundant rainfall, etc. Wanted to show off this amazing banana grove here. This grove's been here since I was a kid visiting this site. That was, back in 2000-ish, or before 2000 even. So this area, this has just been bananas for so long, and it's been in constant production. And we basically just had to go up here a few times, maybe once or twice a month, and just kind of clean up everything. And it keeps these guys producing really strong. Right below that, right on contour, we have a little bit of a lemongrass strip here just to help hold the stability of this hillside right at the bottom here. And also basically all the nutrients that's washing down gets put into these lemongrass, and we can harvest the lemongrass for either mulch or for cooking or whatever we want to use it for, just to brighten up the smell of a room. It's a really good one. So I'm now walking into what's going to end up being a swale, and it kind of is a swale already, but we haven't quite fully gotten it there yet. So this is a swale, is basically a shallow depression in the in your landscape. You have to, certainly many factors you have to think about when installing a swale. A swale should not be installed everywhere. So it's really important to note that. Don't just throw a swale in because you think a swale might work. Really do the research and make sure you have the swale in the right position. Here we have a nice gentle slope. It's not too steep. And below us, where the main kind of swale soakage system is, it kind of starts right around here is where we're kind of starting it probably. Everything over there kind of just washes down and moves this way towards us. So we're not soaking it into anything that has a foundation beneath it. You don't really want to be having a swale soaking where you have, maybe a basement or something like that, because it's just going to get really moist down there. So make sure you're not doing anything that. And the other main thing is a swale is a tree growing system. A swale is a tree growing system. So if you're having a swale, you need to be growing trees with that swale. So basically what a swale is a shallow depression like this, nice and gentle on both sides. And you take all the stuff that you dig up from here, you place it on top, and you leave that uncompacted. And then on that kind of uncompacted mound there, that's where you're planting. So, and it's mainly, once again, trees. So we have lots of bananas growing already. And we actually are just starting to establish other trees in here as well, all throughout here. So you can see right here, it's been raining quite a bit. So we actually have water sitting in this swale right now, and which is really exciting actually, to kind of see it's working. And then I'm also noticing this swale in particular, you can see there's a little bit of flow. It's moving this way. See those bubbles? Slowly moving down this way. So that's another thing. We're actually using this swale to help actually guide the excess rain flow away from the sugar shack right behind me over there, and move it this way and into the forest. So what we'll end up doing at some point is continuing to dig out this swale so that it's in a swale. I haven't actually said this yet, but a swale is basically an on contour and it's level. So you're not actually really trying to direct too much. If you are directing, it's very, very minor, maybe a 1% grade, very barely anything at all. It's just enough to get the water moving. If you need to slope it at all to help with some drainage or anything like that. But remember, swales are soakage systems. So when you have a swale, you're trying to soak water in and infiltrate water into your groundwater system here. So it's not going to be something that you're really trying to move water away. Anytime you have a swale, you're soaking water. However, all that excess needs to go somewhere. So when you do plan a swale, you have to plan for the overflow. So here's the swale from the other side. And basically all this, we're going to still continue digging this out. We just kind of restarted this last week to really get it more defined. And we're going to basically probably widen this a little bit because we do get these major flows. So it'll probably be a little bit wider at the depth there all along. And then we need to continue digging it into the forest here a little bit. And then the goal is to basically have it spill right around here. So we'll create a little spillway here, compacted spillway that we manage. And then it's going to spill right down into the forest. And then the forest is going to take care of all the excess water that we do not want to deal with. And the forest is really built for that. That's what forests are for. They're really good at soaking up a lot of water and managing the water in a way that's non-erosive. So we're actually getting a nice little rain right now, of course, which is kind of nice, right? As we're filling up the swale, you can see all the water drops on the swale right there. So you can see it's pretty deep. It's It's probably about at least a foot or two up on this side and over. So here in the tropics, we just the other day, we had about 4 inches of rain in about a day and a half, 2 days. So we get a lot of rain, and that's not even that much. We can get much more than that. So we have to plan this system for like the ultimate 24-hour rain event. What happens when we get the most amount of rain we possibly can? We need the swale to function and overspill all that excess without degrading the system. So you never want water from your swale going over this top bank down here. You never want that. When you do spill it, say in a spillway, what ends up happening is if you have that top bank running further this way, once you get to the point where you want to spill it, you actually go down a little bit and over, and you create a compacted level sill spillway. And a level sill spillway is designed to essentially take all the power out of the water and spread it nice and passively over a nice level sill edge. If you've ever seen like at hotels or anything, if they have those like little fountains, like nice long waterfall with that beautiful cascading water, that's kind of what a level sill is. Really flat surface that the water spills over, nice and passively, nice and smooth, etc. So yeah, we're getting a nice dump of rain right now, and I'm just kind of hidden in the forest here to avoid getting completely soaked at the very beginning of my work day up at Hacienda Rosa here. We might end up working on the swale today. I'm not actually sure what we're going to be working on quite yet. Everyone's still kind of getting up and about and figuring out what our plan for the day is. So yeah, we're just going to kind of see what happens, and I think I'm just going to leave you here because this is probably long enough of a video, and I'm going to try to take some shelter from this storm before it gets too out of hand. So hope you all enjoyed that little kind of tour of the sugar shack and the couple of the systems we have here at Hacienda Rosa. If you're interested in staying, I'll leave the links up to their sugar shack and the guest house Airbnb rental listings. I'll leave those in the show notes below, so click the little show more beneath this video, and I'll leave those links there so you guys can check it out if you want to. And yeah, hope you all enjoy. If you do like what I'm doing, please subscribe to the channel and share the videos. And yeah, until next time, have a good one.